two cubic modules, lower horizon line, same configuration as the one we did before, except now we're going to be looking inside the cubes, like in the one-point perspective architectural environment perspective drawing. So you should have gotten this template, which is on 11 by 17 paper, which is going to get you started. So you should notice a couple of things in this drawing compared to the one before. Both cubes, they're in the same configuration, but both of them are touching the picture plane. Okay, which means that it's easy to draw these two edges, meaning they're exactly the right size. Okay, which is the height here of the cube. And this cube is actually 4 by 4. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go through the drawings that I have here, and I'll post this, and then I'll try to do one rather quickly. The one other thing to remember is that it's two vanishing points, 2-point perspective. One of the points is actually going to be inside one of the cubes, so it's going to look like it's 1 point, but it's still 2-point perspective. Okay, so let me just quickly go through them. Yeah, that shows it here, right? So one vanishing point is here, and the other one is there, but it's still a 2-point perspective, even though this cube looks a little bit like a 1-point perspective. Okay, so don't get confused by that. Because it's so low, all our people are going to be this big, right? That's the idea. Okay, we're gonna put them in this space, and yeah, and then so use the same configuration. What we'll do is we'll get rid of the this wall and this wall, and we're gonna pretend that it's a big roof that's cantilevered across from this edge of the cubes to this edge. Okay. For these drawings, any technique that's going to help you, just use it. So what I like to do is use different color pencils. This is red, this is blue, this is black, and lots of tracing paper. You could do almost every single face with a different piece of tracing paper. And what you get, at some point, it's going to be something looking like this, where it's kind of like a glass. By the way, in iLearn there is like a step-by-step PDF with lots of descriptions. So this would be like almost like a crystal glass ceiling, where I don't know what everything is, but then with another overlay I can figure it out. Okay. And this is actually the original drawing. So what I like to do is actually use very thin lines, and then do the more important lines, the actual object lines, a little darker. And you'll need to do the grid as well for the floor, which is again 4 by 4. Once you have decided how the final is, okay, so notice once again that here the wall has been removed. Here, the entire wall of the left cube has been removed on the right side. And, so once you get to this point, you need to enlarge it. Now you're going to have to do this on your own. You need to enlarge your drawing 140% so that it gets bigger and fits in your drawing a little bit better. Okay, so you have more room for your coloring. Okay, so remember that step, so that it gets about this big. Okay, and this is the assignment. So this is number 44. Now there is a little bit of discrepancy between iLearn and this handout, where it says number 44 for this drawing, and then only one final drawing called number 45. So let's just stick by that number. Okay, I'll fix the iLearn part. Let's just call this 45, which is the final colored drawing. So once it's like this, there is one in iLearn that says practice rendering it in freehand. Okay, so one simple exercise to go over it in freehand. And we'll do this probably Wednesday, where we'll practice this technique from Mike Lean. It's already all in iLearn. There's even a video of both the black and white version and the color version. And so you can take a look at that. And the black and white version is really, again, just a practice for the color one, okay? By black and white, I mean just like one or two monochromatic pencils, maybe a black and a brown or something. Okay, and this will be your final drawing. The colors on the screen look pretty bad. You can come up and look at the original later. And it's just a combination of different techniques where the strokes are always in the same direction. There are a few like effects, like reflections, if this was glass, by erasing some of the color. Coloring the sky with creating clouds maybe. And very basic here is the fact that whatever is above is like lighter and whatever is underneath is darker. But rather than like coloring by numbers, you know, like where you just fill, you know, a flat area with the same color, you still try to do a little shading, and even the lines. So it's a freehand drawing, and then at the end you do some straight, with a simple straight edge, and then you add the people. Okay. So the idea again is that on every face you draw your shape, and if you use the same orientation, it's going to help you to kind of visualize it. The other thing you need to find, in addition to the faces, is the center of the cubes, right? And these are going from opposite corners. So from the front here to the back there. And I can do the same here. And that's where all my lines are going to converge, right? So I'm going to do the same here on the one on the left. If you start getting confused with all these lines, just use different pieces of tracing paper, okay? So now that I have that center, I could already start connecting these guys here, if I wanted to, right? Okay, so once again, you have your cubes here. The first thing to do, because it's easy, is to draw the two leading edges of the cubes. In other words, these spots right here. Okay, that's my horizon line, and that's my ground here. And this just gives me the height, right? The construction on the left is really just to give me this height right here. Okay, so what you do is you just simply drop these guys down like that, and that gives you one edge, and here the other edge. Here's our station point. So at that point, we know that we could already connect to the two vanishing points, right? One is there, and the other is here, left vanishing point. But I want to do it one by one so I don't get confused. So the first one I'm going to do is this one. So again, you go to the station point, right there. Oops, went to the wrong spot, sorry. So we go to the station point, where it hits the picture plane, we draw a vertical line. And we don't know yet where it's going to hit, and we did the same here. So that hits there, and I draw it. And at this point I go from my vanishing point right here to my leading edge, and I start getting my parts. So that's my first. Now because I'm doing it by hand, now it's going to be tricky to get it perfectly exactly, but we're going to try. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what it is, but since I know that these two are aligned, I think I can just simply do this. I can connect this way, and that's going to give me the edge here. So now if I connect this line right here, whoa, there we go, boom, that gives me the top edge. And here it gives me the bottom. The floor is going to be really tight, right? So you have to be really precise down there. Now the one in the back here, let's see if that works. If I project it to the station point, then I drop it from the picture plane. Yeah, nice, okay. So that's my first cube. Okay, now let's finish the second one. Now the second one, we could do it several ways. We could start here, we project down, where it hits the picture plane, we bring it down, and now since I know my top and bottom, I can just connect this way and connect that way. And I get my front, and now I just need to know where this spot is because it's in the middle here. I could do it the same way. I could start using diagonals several ways. For example, I could do a diagonal on the top here, on my ceiling here, and that would give me the center, and then I could simply connect that to my vanishing point, and I would get this spot, which would be which would be this line right here. And I could obtain it that way, or I could do the old-fashioned way, which is you project this way, where it meets the picture plane, I drop it down, I get it like that. Let's do this one. Oh, okay, we still need to go here. And where it meets this line, right? Yeah, I have to do a little bit of a negotiation there, but it's close. Okay, so these are my two cubes now. Yeah, so once you have the main structure, you just, you just decide, what you want to tackle first, and you just go bit by bit, slowly, and you just go around. So at this point, you could do a lot of diagonals to find your mid spots. So this diagonal will give me this. And then further diagonals will give me the other midpoints, and so forth, okay? So the process again is the same, and then depending on what your section is, you could go like that. So at that point, if I wanted to go around, I would probably start using more tracing paper so that I can focus on, let's just say maybe this front right here. Again, I use diagonals, more diagonals, Monday, and I don't know what that. And you build it up, okay? All right, I'll stop because the process really is exactly, at this point, is exactly the same as the other one, except that your final, because it's going to be from down below, and also eliminating this wall right here. In other words, the right wall of the left cube is completely gone, so that the entire roof cantilevers over this section right here, these walls. Right, those are the walls that remain. The rest is just the floor. Okay. And then the final effect will be again over kind of an open space. Okay, try to really get these divisions. Okay, your squares, your 4x4 squares, because that really helps the the spatial kind of view, right? The depth. Okay, so I'll since you're busy with the other drawing too, I won't go into how to do the rendering yet. We'll do that either Wednesday or Monday. Okay.